Oh, I knew looking at the camera. Is that where I'm? Okay, I just want to make sure I'm here, bro.
You good now?
Yeah,
You sure?
yeah, let's get it, bro.
All right. You ready? You ready for this?
Hello, audience.
Couch Potato General Manager back with another mock draft video. We are doing the mock draft, 7-round mock draft for the New York Giants. Gentlemen, the Giants have the 4th overall pick. We anticipate chalk for the most part, although there could be a trade up, particularly at that number 3 spot. We are not in the market for a quarterback. I think we're all in agreement that we're fine sitting at 4, maybe even trading out depending on how the board unfolds. So we're going to get started and see what happens. Joe
Chalk.
Burrow, Chase Young, Jeff Okudah, the first 3 picks, that's about as chalk as you're going to get with respect to a mock draft. So basically, we have everything available to us at this juncture. So I think there's definitely a need at the second level of the defense. I think we can certainly go offensive tackle here with so much talent on the board. Are you guys interested in a trade down, maybe with the Chargers? What do you think?
Yeah, the more and more you look at the roster, the defensive side of the field was really struggling last year for the New York Giants. They couldn't get after the passer. They couldn't cover anyone. The back end, front end, it was all messed up, man. You brought in a Joe Judge from the Patriots. And I see a guy on the board named Isaiah Simmons that could clean up your linebacker spot, could clean up your pass rushing spot, could clean up your covering abilities. It could clean up a lot. So that's what I was weighing today, man. I think Isaiah Simmons is the most talented player. I know you need a tackle, but maybe we could get one later.
Yeah, I'm gonna jump on board with that. I was doing the same thing, thinking about who I would go with if it's me here. Are you going linebacker, or are you going offensive line? I know, like you said, Solder did struggle, and part of that too is Daniel Jones holding on to the football too long. I think he led the league in terms of quarterbacks in terms of fumbles.
Yep.
So that part of that is on him. If he can get rid of the ball a little bit quicker, maybe that those the offensive linemen won't struggle as bad. I look at this defense, and to me, when you got a player, whether it be offensive defense, when you got a player who can allow you to put your best 11 on the field because he can play so many different positions, he can do so many different things, I think that's the guy you got to go with, especially when it's a need. This isn't one of those, he's the best player available, we don't necessarily need him. But actually, you need him, and he's the best player available at the moment. So why not just go and get him? And, they do have the 64th pick overall, second round. I mean, if you need to, 64th, the 36th pick overall, why not trade back up if you need to grab maybe an Austin Jackson, or maybe that offensive tackle falls to you. But at this position right here, I think you got to go with the best player who's going to allow you to put the best 11 on the field defensively.
We're going to go with the majority here. It's hard to argue against Isaiah Simmons. I agree with what you're saying. I also come from the school of you get the most important position group is the offensive line. And yes, Jones can do some things to mitigate some of the deficiencies. I think it behooves teams to make the offensive line a position group of strength. So it's a catch-22 here. I probably would be more inclined to trade down and then kind of see how the chips fall, maybe moving back to the 6th spot. But we don't want to run that risk. We want to get Isaiah Simmons. He's the most versatile player in this entire draft class. So it's hard to argue with that notion. So we're going to go with the Isaiah Simmons pick here, clean up that second level of the defense, and erase some of those issues along the defensive side of the ball.
Giants fans are screaming. Got to protect the franchise.
It's hard for me to disagree with him. Austin Jackson went really early in this mock.
He did.
Wow.
Well, he went before worse.
So did Gross Matos. Somebody must be tweaking
the algorithms.
Tweaking the algorithm. Interesting. Let's walk it back a little bit. Because we've obviously done a number of mock drafts using Pro Football Network's mock draft simulator, and a couple of the wild cards or some significant changes we've seen is with Austin Jackson going as high as he did. We've seen him at
Mhm.
the bottom of the first round into the second round at times. He went 10th overall, went before Wirfs, who a lot of people feel is the top tackle in this class. And then Gross Matos, who I think is just going to get better. I understand it. I think with the whole Ndakwe situation, and the fact that I think Gross Matos is actually one of the better edge rushers in this class. It wouldn't surprise me if he sneaks into the first round, but we haven't seen him throughout these mocks make it into the first round to this point. And I think the rest we've seen at some point or another, those players fall in the first round. So the Texans traded up, gave the Dolphins a haul. Dallas traded up with Philly. I think the Eagles got a haul.
Yeah, they did. Ooh,
First,
That's this year's second, this year's third, and the first next year. Packers ultimately ended up with back-to-back first-round picks. They traded up. There clearly was a run in this draft on edge rushers. That's why you see Vaughn and Uche going as high as they have. We haven't seen that in the mock drafts to this point, although they're talented players. Where do we go with this particular pick? Do we go with that offensive tackle, best offensive tackle on the board, or we go in a different direction?
yeah, I like the offensive line here. It's two guys that I'm seeing. Big fan of Josh Jones, his pass protection. And there's another guy, a center, Cesar Ruiz.
Cesar Ruiz, yeah.
I think he's the top interior offensive line class, and it will shore up that pivot position for the Giants.
Yeah, bro.
I think Ruiz has the highest floor. I think he's going to be a starter in this league for a long time. But I do say Josh Jones have a higher ceiling.
Plus, he plays the more important position.
Who?
Josh Jones. He plays the more
I don't
important
necessarily
position.
agree with that.
The blind side.
Well, I mean, he might end up at the blind side, but Solder's the incumbent. I don't think that's going to change.
No, that's not going to change till possible. I mean, if he has a good year next year, I think they probably keep him. But if he doesn't, or this year, then they're gonna, that could be the guy. Gonna be the guy either way. But
we don't pick again until late third round. So
Trade down.
yeah,
Suitors give up maybe some of my capital next year
to trade back up and get a guy we want.
Second round.
I'm down with that, bro.
Let's do it, bro.
All right, man. So who
are we going with here? We need to make that determination.
We were discussing earlier. Was it going to be one of the top 4 offensive linemen, or was it going to be Isaiah Simmons? We chose we're going to fix the defense. Now we got to go back when we got a chance to fix the offensive line in terms of either tackle position. And here's a guy, Josh Jones, who could do that. Why not do that? I understand Ruiz is on the board, and that's an immediate impact player. But so is Josh Jones, man.
I think that the Giants have two big question marks on their offensive line right now. Two big ones. And that's at center and that's at right tackle. All right. I think Josh Jones can eventually play your left tackle for you. But I don't necessarily, I mean, what type of pressure affects the quarterback most? Interior pressure, correct? We agree on that, right?
I'd agree on that.
Okay. The center also makes all the calls along your offensive line. We agree on that, right?
We do.
There is a lack of depth in the interior offensive line in this draft class.
It is more, the tackles are stronger.
The tackles are stronger.
Right,
so I don't mind making this Josh Jones pick, but who is a better player? I want the best player here between those two players, unless we go to the defensive side of the ball. But we're probably going to trade up to try to get one of these ballers here. That's slipping.
All right, man. So you kind of talking me into it. I'm looking at the depth chart here. You got Hernandez on the left side. You got Zeitler on the right side. You throw a guy in the middle and a Ruiz who can kind of strengthen, and it might even actually help the tackles out. All right, man. I'm gonna jump on board. I'm okay with going with Ruiz, bro. I'm okay with it, man.
So
I'm not gonna fight.
So Hadley, what camp are you in, and do you think we should grab one of these defensive players and then try to get Ruiz?
Nah.
Who says nah?
Yeah, I'd rather go Ruiz. Get that offensive line right. I think a strong running game will make Daniel Jones better. You invested a high pick in Saquon Barkley. So you put Saquon Barkley behind those three guys up front. We know what Will Hernandez could do in the run game. Zeitler's a better pass protector, but he's experienced run blocker also. And you had a Cesar Ruiz in the middle. I think that's where we got to go, man.
All right. So we're gonna make that pick, and then we immediately need to jump on the phone because there's a lot of talent sitting out there that we anticipated going in the first round that's still on the board.
And I'd like to speak to their offense. We had Golden Tate, who missed a couple games, was due to suspension last year. You had Darius Slayton, who came on, kind of the speed guy, and you got Sterling Shepard there. So, I mean, you kind of piecing this thing together on offense, just strengthen up that middle of that offensive line, man. Let's see, you don't talk me into it. Yeah.
All right. So immediately after Ruiz, Lloyd Cushenberry came off the board, then followed by Josh Jones, Xavier McKinney, Terrell Lewis, a couple of Bama players went back-to-back in Miami. Hamler, Gladney, Chin, Jalen Johnson. This is what the defensive board looks like, man.
Hey, man. Hey, if I get a Patrick Queen,
you going back-to-back, bro? You going back-to-back?
We can move Isaiah Simmons anywhere. You can play edge. You can play safety. You can play everywhere. So I wouldn't be mad.
You know what? I ain't mad at it either, bro. If that's the thought process, the versatile player. You know, the people out here calling him Derwin James and stuff, bro. I'm down with that. What it's gonna take, though. I'm absolutely down with that.
That's the question. Let's see what the Bucs talking about. Let's see what the Bucs talking about. Now, with this being said, the Giants they've obviously committed some resources to this linebacker position, but it's not necessarily a guy that's going to represent or present the athleticism that Patrick Queen brings to the table. I don't know that they've done enough, even though they've committed, some resources to that second level of the defense. I don't think they've done enough to solidify. Now, of course, we went Isaiah Simmons, but the beauty of Isaiah Simmons is his versatility to move him around. So, yeah, I'm on board with the Patrick Queen too. If we can manage a trade for him. Is there anybody else on the board?
Delpit offers. I just think the Giants need to infuse speed on their defense. We got Isaiah Simmons. He's fast to the football. So I wouldn't be mad at Delpit either because he's fast to the football. Patrick Queen's fast to the football.
Let me ask you
some speed.
Delpit can be as fast as he want, bro. You get there, you miss the tackle, it really don't mean anything. You know what I mean? That's the biggest thing I got with him. He's able to make tackles, bro. I mean, that's an easy pick. I mean, he's probably already gone.
To me, it's not just a matter of speed, though. It's playmaking ability. It's coverage. It's finding the football. I think Delpit has. I mean, I think Delpit has a technique issue. I don't think it's a lack of physicality. I think it's a technique.
No, I agree.
So,
I agree.
The question is, do we want to invest in that safety as opposed to the linebacker, considering that we have Simmons? Again, I'm okay with either player. It's who's the better player is the way I feel about it.
In my opinion, the potential of Delpit is more enticing, but I would understand if somebody thinks Queen is the better player right now, which he is. But Delpit, that ceiling, man, I don't think Queen is that much better than Delpit either. It's just he's just more sound right now in his technique and his tackling.
So do we need to trade up right here if we're going to go Delpit?
We're going to have to trade up either way.
But I mean right here, though.
Yeah, I don't know how much longer you plan on waiting on Patrick Queen, bro. Like how much longer do you plan on waiting?
So, but we talking about two players. We're talking about two players. So do we go a couple more picks and let take a chance?
I think those two players will come off the board probably really soon. Like the next three.
I don't want to push it, bro. I don't want to. Like, let's.
Y'all wrong, man. But go ahead, man. Let's do it.
Which one are we getting? So I'm gonna try to make the trade with the Bucs. But which one are we getting?
I like the stealing a Delpit. But it's got to be a sure thing here, man, because this is essentially a first round talent guy, bro.
Decisions.
Let me look at this. Look at the second.
Might not be able to trade down because we try to move up a lot. That's like what, 50 spots? It's gonna take a lot. They ain't having
bro.
Hold on.
They ain't having it. They say we ready to.
This is my
They say we
offer right here.
We got Tom Brady.
Right?
You know what I'm saying? Ain't trying to trade down next year.
Crazy trying to win now, bro. Win now.
Win now.
All right. So unless we're willing to give up, because I didn't try this, but let me just run this by you. This is the best trade that we can offer, that I'm willing to offer at this juncture.
Let's see, man.
Let's try it.
Yep, there it is.
So we get second round next year. And was that
third and our fourth this year?
Third and our fourth. To get more speed on that defense.
Here's my question, right? Patrick Queen, who's on the field? Which one of the linebackers are not on the field?
I think if you get Patrick Queen,
so either
inside would be Queen and Martinez, because you can move Simmons anywhere.
Yeah, Simmons would be the moving piece.
You can put that safety if you want to.
So, okay.
You can.
I know we can.
You can do whatever.
I know we can do that. Your thoughts on Julian Love? Your thoughts on Julian Love at the free?
I think he's serviceable. I think he showed promise there last season, especially towards the end of last season. We're on 3 safeties. Like, it's just how the league is going right now. It's like you just want the best athletes on the football field.
And I get that, and that's what I'm trying to get at. So, Julian Love, can he play my nickel? Grant Delpit can play my nickel, right?
Yeah. Delpit it up.
Delpit it. Delpit's going to shore up your back end. I know that, Headley said that Julian Love is he had started to come on last year, cornerback moved to safety. But, one of the things that I thought that Delpit did very well, he's a guy who finds the football.
Like you said, man, with NFL and defensive and the multiple, especially Joe Judge, he's coming from New England. He knows all about, switching up your defense. So you could have Julian up on the field at the same time with Delpit, put one of them at nickel corner, put Delpit in the box if you want to, free safety. I just think this is getting in guys that are athletic, speed guys on this defense that can fly around. We got Isaiah Simmons in round 1, and you add Delpit to go with that. I like that combination.
And by adding the Delpit, I think, obviously Simmons presents a ton of versatility. I think Delpit presents a ton of versatility. You mentioned it. He can play any number of different positions. You can play in your deep third, be the single safety high. He can play that 2-man. He can play that nickel. Assuming he gets better and he works on his technique and fundamentals as a tackler, I think Delpit has a ton of ability. And he's a first-round talent, not unlike Patrick Queen, but I think he provides a lot of versatility to this defense as well. So we trade up. We gave up some booty, but we get first-round talent in Grant Delpit.
And I talked about it earlier. Putting the best 11 on the field. You got 2 players who allow you to now really do that.
Got to find them diamonds in the rough now, man. Those gems.
Oh, Ross Blacklock fell to the 3rd.
Yeah, Duncan fell to the 3rd too.
Yeah.
There's been a premium on defensive players in this draft. Logan Wilson's 3rd round pick.
Yeah, I just see all defensive players.
Yeah,
but
this is crazy.
I'm glad we moved up, bro. Pretty busy for the next 3 rounds. So at this juncture, which direction you guys want to head in?
Hey, we got to hit the edges up, man. Our offensive tackle is still a need, and a pass rusher, an edge rusher also.
Alton Robinson.
I ain't mad at it, bro.
Alton Robinson was impressive at the Senior Bowl. That ain't a bad name at all. I didn't expect him to still be on the board.
Yeah, he had some troubles off the field. JUCO to hand in the ground end. He's power to the QB.
He's a power guy.
He's more of a power guy, not a bendy guy.
But I still think when you go 4 down, pass rushing situations, you got to get him on the field because he can get to the quarterback.
Yeah, I
And
mean
at this point in the draft, I'm willing to take a chance on guys who might have a little checkered history off the field.
For some reason, they haven't gave Marcus Golden a deal yet. I think they need to bring him back. He was their best pass rusher last year, but affecting the passer is where they struggled. So getting a pass rusher and Alton Robinson right here, I wouldn't be mad at that pick.
Alton Robinson it is. All right, we're back on the board. Back on the clock, I should say. Is what it's looking like right now.
They got Adeniji still out there.
I think at this point, his position flexibility is a plus. He was at the Senior Bowl as well. Adeniji's a 4-year starter, and he has some things that you can't teach. I agree with you, Headley. From a technique standpoint, he has some work to do, hand placement. But his feet, how fluid he is, how quick his feet are, I think is something that you can't teach. And then the versatility to play inside and outside. I think at this juncture in the 6th round, that I mean, at a minimum, we're talking about a guy who could play multiple positions, be a swing tackle for you, maybe develop into a starter as well. So I don't hate the energy at this point.
I like it.
We own the 7th round. This is the first of 4 7th round picks.
Trey Adams, man, let's do it.
Yeah, let's go back to the tackle well here.
He was still there. What are we doing?
Let's go back.
Yeah, so right now we're going to draft for Trey Adams. We drafted Odeniji earlier in the draft. Trey Adams is kind of a similar player in terms of you can have him outside. He can slide inside, so he brings that position versatility. He dealt with a lot of injuries, but when he was not injured and at the top of his game, he was one of the best tackles in the nation. So hopefully, we can get that out of him in New York.
Yeah, and by adding Adams here, we're throwing another player against the wall, seeing what sticks at that right tackle position, hopefully long term. And then ultimately, Soldier's not going to play forever, so hopefully, Adams or Deniji, they can provide a solution at least one of those tackle positions. So I like the upside that Trey Adams represents here in the 7th round.
You don't trust Fleming, huh?
I do not.
Cam?
Call him Cam, bro.
Cam?
I think the Giants have a chance to kind of rack up some talent here late in the draft. This is a deep draft at several positions, and there's still some talent on this board. So I think, maybe not guys that are going to make an immediate impact, on the offensive defensive side of the ball, but certainly in terms of adding depth, providing competition, special teams. I think there's going to be some quality players that the Giants can add to their roster. All right, so this is the second of 4 7th round picks. All right, so we're going to go ahead and grab Reggie Robinson. I think he probably is going to come off the board a little bit earlier in actual drafts because of some of the physical testing. He's physical. He finds the football for the most part. We got a chance to see him at the Senior Bowl. He competed well there. He actually improved his draft stock, I think, at the combine, running 4.4, measuring at 6'1". Had a good vertical jump. Represents that athleticism again. So again, at this point in the draft, he's kind of the quintessential player that you're looking for. Continue to bolster that secondary as well. So we had another cornerback here in Lamar Jackson. I think he actually profiles as a safety. Went right before us. We were considering him, but we opted for Reggie Robinson. I think now we're going to go back to the offensive side of the ball and grab a CPGM favorite and Jeff Thomas. Give Daniel Jones another weapon, guy who can stretch the field and make plays deep.
Yeah, can you think about it? Golden Tate's getting older. I know you have a Sterling Shepard. I like him better in the slot. You got a young Darius Slayton. So, adding a Jeff Thomas for the future could be bright.
All right, and we are on our last pick. This is
Mr.
Irrelevant.
Okay.
So, again, 4 7th round picks. So we got some ballers in the 7th round, man.
I like it.
I ain't mad at it.
You can't be mad with this draft, B.
I don't think so.
I don't think you can be mad with this draft.
Well,
They're gonna be mad though.
People get mad at that's hard to say. Hey, let's do it.
It's not their guy, bro.
You want to do a hasty? Dion. I know they signed Dion Lewis, but Dion Lewis about 30 now, isn't he?
Yeah.
Get the younger Dion Lewis.
There's Nick Cole.
Oh, Nick Cole. We can do Nick Cole too.
We'll grab Nick Cole.
Yeah,
Add
let's do
another
that, man.
pass
Yeah, that
rusher
makes
to the
more
mix.
sense. Yeah, that makes more sense.
Yeah. Let's do it.
Nick Cole.
Number 4 pick, we got Isaiah Simmons right there. We were thinking offensive tackle, but Simmons' versatility, the Giants in the middle of their defense, as well as get after the quarterback. 36 pick was Cesar Ruiz. I feel he's the best interior offensive lineman. Put him right in the middle between Zeitler and Will Hernandez. And he's going to make Saquon Barkley a happy man. And then the 45th pick, we went Grant Delpit, traded up to get him, and it just adds more speed and versatility to your defense, man. I think having an infusion of speed could go a long way for this Giants defense.
I think Delpit's range, is something that gets lost in the conversation because of some of his tackling struggles. But the Giants had a tendency to give up the big play and allow receivers to get behind them. And I think Delpit has the ability to erase some of those mistakes. All right, fellas. Who was your favorite pick after Grant Delpit?
I'm gonna go with Reggie Robinson II from Tulsa. Like you stated earlier, saw him out there at the Senior Bowl. A guy who has some speed. I mean, listen, at that part in the draft, you're looking for guys who slipped because of injury or some incident of some sort, or if they blew up at the combine, but for whatever reason they fell in the draft. Guys are looking for numbers, and he had some wonderful, colorful, eye-popping numbers at the combine. And a guy who's, coming from a smaller school, you feel like, hey, stick him on the squad, let him learn behind a Bradbury, and maybe you might have found yourself, at the very least, a guy who can contribute on special teams, a gunner.
I go with Trey Adams. You added 3 starters with your first 3 picks. Added Alton Robinson as a pass rusher. But I like Trey Adams, man. The tape before he got injured, I thought it was pretty impressive. I thought he could hold up against the run and the pass. I like him there to maybe be a possible starter if we could get some of that pre-injury form back with Trey Adams.
Ended this draft really well. Starting in the 5th round with Alton Robinson. Alton Robinson was dominant at the Senior Bowl, particularly in the game. He got after it. He made some of those tackles look silly. And then, of course, a couple other Senior Bowl participants in Adeniji, Reggie Robinson. I thought they both showed up fairly well. Adeniji has some upside position flexibility. You mentioned it with Trey Adams. Heather, you could potentially move him inside if tackle doesn't work out for him. I think Adams is a better player when healthy, but Adeniji has some things that you can't teach in terms of his quickness, in terms of his mobility. He just needs to work on his hand, his punch, his hand technique, and I think you got a decent player there. And then, Jeff Thomas, Nick Cole. Nick Cole is kind of that lost man among that Auburn down line, but I think with the right coaching and the right scheme, I think he can add some punch to your pass rush rotation. And of course, Jeff Thomas, he's had some off-field incidents. I think that's why he's been pushed on. Not to mention Miami didn't know how to use him, but he's an electric receiver, and I think he's going to be a steal, assuming he can keep his nose clean. So top to bottom, I thought the draft was well. We didn't have a whole lot of capital. We gave it up in the middle rounds, but I thought we started and we ended very well in this particular draft.